Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Future Engineering Career Talks from Bentley Education. This is the first edition of the Career Talk that we're hosting in India, and today we're going to talk about the ways you can successfully kickstart your career in infrastructure. And we can't get more excited. Today we're bringing together a group of industry experts to show you what your future career could look like and how you can stand out and land your dream job. You can expect every speaker to have the floor about for 12 minutes. We'll also take the questions that you had shared with us earlier during registrations at the end of the session. And if time permits, we will conduct a short Q&A through the chat box. So before we get started, let me quickly share about the panel of experts today. We have Dr. Amarnath here. He is serving as the head of BIM strategy at Larsen and Turbo. He is also playing an active role at several Digital Built India initiative and is the founding president of the National BIM Society India. Over his course of career, he's held several positions in India, Taiwan, Spain, Italy, and UK. He holds a PhD in establishing organization BIM strategies from the National Taiwan University. Today, he's going to be talking about the industry trends, BIM advancements that you should know about, and he will also share how you can acquire them. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Amarnath. We are very excited to have you on board today with us.
My pleasure, Monica.
Thank you. As we move on to our next speaker, we have Tanay Kulkarni, who was the co-owner and consultant engineer at DTK Hydronet Solutions. In 2020, one of their projects bagged Bentley's Year in Infrastructure Award too. Prior to starting his own company, Tanay was part of Bentley Systems for about 5 years as a technical consultant. As he joins us today, he's presently in the US. He's pursuing his master's in civil engineering from the Carnegie Mellon University. Tanay will be sharing some Guru mantras that you can adopt while pursuing your degree from his experience over these years. Welcome, Tanay. It's our pleasure to have you today with us.
Thank you so much, Monica.
We also have Dr. Manivanan. He's the Director of Industry and Academia Relations from the Vinayaka Missions Research Foundations. He is also the Secretary of Global Engineering Deans Council and he's the Chairperson for their India chapter. He has more than 25 publications to his credit. He holds a PhD in Theoretical Fluid Mechanics with 35 years of rich cross-functional experience. Today, he'll be talking about the skills that you need to excel in your career. Dr. Manivanan, it's our honor to have you on the panel today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our final speaker for today is our very own Jelko Juretic. He is the director at Bentley Education and is responsible for leading and driving education engagements across various regions, including India. He'll be sharing about how Bentley Education is helping you take a jumpstart in your career. So this is what I have from my side for now. I won't take much time. I think we can now get started. Dr. Amarnath, the floor is all set for you to take over.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, well, it's a very interesting session. It's on the BIM skills, what our AEC sector students may need. I believe we have audience, especially students, and from different departments, maybe from architecture, civil, mechanical, electrical, management, and focusing further on higher education, on construction management, real estate, all of these sectors. So BIM is for all of us, and the skills are very important if you want to survive in our the latest in the current market, either locally or globally. So this is the topic for today. What are the kind of skills and competencies required for you to get into the industry requirements for today's situations? And here is my WhatsApp number. You have any queries, you are free to WhatsApp me, but based on my availability, I will text you back. And well, I'm serving in L&T, but as you know, it's very much important to build the ecosystem in the country. So I coordinate with the policy development, social connect, strategic, academic, and forums and councils. So it's a way to activate the transformation in our country. So being our nation, I'm working on these lines as a passion. Coming into the actual topic, when it comes to delivering projects in a traditional approach and the current with the digital way of delivering projects, data is very important, and the kind of information which is getting generated across the life cycle phases by different stakeholders. But what is happening with traditional approach is this is not well managed, or even if it's managed, it may be on a 2D platforms. Wherein BIM comes in, it's adding a 3-dimension for you, and you have a better way of managing the data and for using the data. And these are the phases of the project where We being the students will get into one of these phases for the project. It may be for phase one for planning, where client and consultants come in. Phase two and three and four, it's more of a design, architecture, and all of these teams develop the BIM models with LOD 350 and further, and do the class checks and take it further. Phase five and six is more of a construction activities where you use the model for site activities. It may be for a time, cost, monitoring, planning, safety, quality, procurement, logistic, farm work, then hand over the digital twin for the maintenance team so that they can use the digital twin, which is the replica of your real asset, and then use it for smart facility management, integrate the sensors and their data with the model, and so that you will be having a digital asset of what you have been done till date with all the data put in that, and you can use it for further activities. Well, we being a student from these different departments, we have roles to play as the same roles as what you used to play in the traditional approach. Even now, you used to play the same role, but the only change is you have to change in the terms of way you work and the way you manage the data and the kind of softwares you use. So this is where the recent skills are required. You being a civil engineer, you don't need to become a modeler. A modeler no need to become a site engineer. So it's all same rules. So there is some confusions on these lines in the current market. But looking into the benefits of BIM, like why should I go with this education? First of all, if the client sees the benefits, then they will say that I need this in the project. And then the contractors and the supply chain, when they see the benefits, they will adopt it. And when they have adopted, we being the students and the youngsters need to work on that capabilities. We should have that capabilities to deliver. Today, globally, more than 80 to 90 countries are working on BIM. There's a lot of R&D initiatives, and more than 25 plus countries have the BIM mandates at a national levels, at a state or central or whatever, saying that for the way forward for the BIM, we need for the way forward in the journey, we need BIM, even from bidding stage. And this you are seeing on day to day. I mean, 10 years back, if I used to speak with people, they were not so aligned. Now, most of the Indian clients themselves, including the airport authorities, metros, Central Public Works Department, defense projects, and public works, substations, water treatments, a lot of infra projects, rails, roads, high-speed trains. All of these are coming with the BIM requirements in the projects. That is because clients have realized that I'm going to get something. So that is the economic benefits. It's not just an economic, but also the kind of other benefits you get because you're having all the data in one place so that you don't need to connect with others for any data and wait for someone. So looking into this slide, you have design, construction, operation, dismantling on x-axis. Y-axis is the cost. The red curve is without BIM, blue is with BIM. This is from PwC report. And in fact, you can see the cost without BIM in the design is less, and also during handover, it's less. But later, other stages with BIM, it becomes cheaper because the 10% of capex, which can be realized by the contractors and the subcontractors, and the 10% of opex, which can be realized by the facility management team, that is clients and their team. So only when you implement BIM in a matured way, if we have to implement BIM in a matured way, we need the right skills and professionals to work on that. And today, what has happened in our Indian market, we have a lot of capabilities built around design. So you want any BIM models to be delivered up to LOD 350, there are plenty of teams and companies to do that. But how many of these people are able to use this model for construction activities? Because the return on investment stays here. So the capabilities has to be built at this level, the capex realization, and the capabilities also has to be built during this opex. How do I use the digital twin for the operations? So this is what is missing in terms of skills in the current market. This is the most important skill many contractors, including in India, the top contractors and the startups and also the mid-sized companies are looking for, because they want to realize the returns. The BIM model, any company can deliver, but who can use that model is the key for all this time, cost, form work, safety, quality, procurement, digital twin developments, all of this. So the skill development should focus on this capex and opex phase, especially at these stages. Coming into the benefits, obviously we'll have several: time, material, cost, health and safety, risk reductions, asset improvements, and you also get a better reputation when you are able to deliver better quality virtual models to your clients for better usage for the maintenance phase. And looking into the maturity phases, this is called UK BIM maturity model developed by Mark Bew and Mervyn Richards. They say when you look at a project level, there are these four levels. Level 0 means there is no BIM in the project. Level 1, you have BIM only for design. and the standards are only limited to the particular organization. It may not be the same standard followed by other organizations, partner organizations in the project. And there is no kind of softwares on a cloud and things. It's very unorganized way of delivering BIM. Level 2 is where you have BIM for design and construction. You have common standard for both the phases of the people working on this, and you have common data environment, and you are focusing on delivering a digital twin. When it comes to level 3, all the software should be cloud-based. Complete lifecycle should be matured with BIM, and also you should have a common standard to be followed by all the parties in the project. But level 3, things are not ready fully, but the workings are happening by the tech vendors and also the standard developments and also building the capabilities among the people. Level 2 is where most of the global clients are asking for the projects to be delivered, but most of the companies today who are speaking, we do BIM, are at level 1. So there is a shift which is required from level 1 to 2, and there are some people mid in level 2, they have to reach, and then they have to start with level 3. This is the way forward. And if we have to build the capabilities on these lines, what are the skills we need? Obviously, when we want to implement BIM in the projects, you have to look into these key focus areas. One is you need to have a right IT infrastructure. You need a right set of hardwares, workstations. You may be using drones, laser scanners, AR/VR devices, several other equipments. And BIM technologies. Obviously, there are more than 300, 400 BIM softwares in the market provided by more than 20, 30 software vendors. But it's very much important to understand what softwares are workable for infra, what is workable for building sector, what for cities, what for design phase, what for construction, what for operation, what is workable for airports, what is workable for metros, railways. It's very much important to understand all these things and plan out a strategic part on the which technologies is workable for my projects and my capabilities. It's not that when you come out as a graduate, you should know the common set of softwares. It all depends on the role you would play in the projects and the software which a company would adopt. Data and information, which is very critical, whatever you are bringing, IT, BIM technology, people, guidelines, it's mainly to manage this data and documentation. So how it has to be managed, what is the kind of deliverables to be given to each of the parties from design to construction, construction to operation, people and communication. Today's the exchange of information is through emails, phone calls, different medias, but why don't we have that common data platform where people can coordinate and work? That's where the way we communicate has to be synchronized. Process and guidelines, which is about how do we follow a standard approach? Because obviously when it comes to a project, you have companies coming together from different regions, and different people may have different process and guidelines followed. If I'm collaborating with a Singapore team and a UK team and an Australian team, they have a different standards. But how do we have a common standard for a particular project for the client expectations to go further? Setting this stage up for the projects. All these are very important areas. Going further, what should I do now as a graduate? This is the main question which should come for you. And obviously, you're all different. You may not have the same vision as all of you do. Maybe someone is an architect, want to get into design. Someone is a planning engineer who want to focus on time planning and monitoring. Someone is into QA/QS. Someone is into safety, procurement. You may focus on a different job roles. You may be a green consultant. So BIM is for all of you, okay? But you have to know what is that skills and competencies you have to gain through BIM. And obviously, when it comes to job market with respect to BIM, it's not just a software capabilities. We have three categories of job roles in the market. One is a technical capability jobs, managerial jobs, and strategic jobs. What is this technical? It's more of a human and machine interface where you are developing a model, adding information to the model, making the model matured by one or the other way, being in your job roles. That is a technical job. Managerial is where you focus more on process, workflows, people, deliverables, and aligning the teams and things. That's the managerial roles. Strategic is more of understanding the competitors, setting up the strategic roadmaps for the company, way forward, partnerships, and team building. All these things comes into strategic roles. So you can be part of any of these job roles. You don't need set of experience, come to technical, then to managerial, then to strategic. You have to think of what roles and then build that skills for you. So, in fact, when it comes to jobs, technical, it may be like a modeler, coordinator, or analyst, or a coder, or it may be any job roles which works on a BIM model align. Manager is more of like a design manager, construction manager, city manager, project manager, organization management level, information manager, this kind of role. Strategic is more of BIM strategy coordinator, strategy manager, strategy head, digital director, this kind of roles. And also the salaries are aligned on the same lines. It's again looks on what skills and competencies you build on these things. And most important is the skill development, which is missing today in the market. In most of the universities, we don't have the BIM skilled faculties to train, or there is no proper connect between the industry and academia to take this further. A lot of initiatives should be taken to bring this coordination to come in. And BIM should not be taught as a software alone. It should be more of a understanding the roles and responsibilities that they would be interested in, align them for those technologies, which is really important. And Bentley plays a major role also. They have a lot of solutions for infra projects today for metros, railways, and linear projects mainly. They have a lot to do with Bentley solutions. And today, even we face a challenge having this kind of capable people in the companies. So getting skilled on these things will really help. I'm not limiting you to one technology, but do rethink what is that role you have to play in the market, and where you have to see yourself, and then get skilled on those lines. There's a lot of way to do. I think Bentley Education also has some support on those lines. I just want to end for this, and I will be right available for the Q&A.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Amarnath. This was really an insightful presentation, and I'm sure this is going to inspire and help a lot of attendees here today. You've also shared your contact details on LinkedIn as well. So if any of the attendees wants to reach out to Dr. Amarnath, you're free to do so. Moving on, our next speaker for today is Tanay Kulkarni. Tanay, are you all set to take the stage over?
Absolutely. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yep, perfect.
Hi all, this is Tanay, and I'm asked to share 3 Guru Mantras. So I myself am a graduate student, presently a student at Carnegie Mellon University. So I thought of why not share 3 disciple mantras instead of Guru Mantras. I don't treat myself as a guru right now. So, and here are my 2 cents. So before first of all, thank you so much, Monica, for the introduction. But I would like to introduce myself from a different perspective. So, hi all, I am a curious kid when it comes to learning new things. I am a relentless engineer when it comes to solving very critical problems, and a passionate entrepreneur when it comes to bringing actual change. And in my background, I come from a very dusty little town in the central part of India called as Amravati. And we received inadequate, low quality water supply, 50 liters per person, once a week, 2 hours a day. And water was, as you can see, water was a central issue for us, for me and my younger sister growing up. And there were reports, news reports of water shortages, farmer suicides due to crop failures, and many water related issues in the society in general. So I had 2 options in front of me. One was to sweep the problem under the carpet, ignore it, and move on. And the other one was persevere and fix the problem that I had at my hand. So I chose the later one. And that is when I made clean water for all as the purpose of my life. So let me take you through the journey so that you'll get an understanding of where I'm coming from and in what perspective am I talking to you about, right? So in 2011, it was like back 10 years back, I finished my undergraduate in civil engineering. I was always fascinated by water and its engineering. In 2012, I decided to pursue masters in hydraulics. I was also engaged as an intern hydraulic modeler. And then 2014, as I finished my master's in hydraulics, in which I focused my research on water network infrastructure, I joined Bentley Systems and moved to Mumbai. In 2015, I was handed a pilot project in Bentley Systems where I for the first time in my life, I tasted what real data looks like and what the science looks like, right? Data science looks like. And that motivated me to pursue a certification from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, USA. I successfully did that. And 2016, I got married, and what a coincidence. My wife is also a water engineer. And then I started working with many ambitious Bentley pilot projects. I integrated SCADA with hydraulic models, and I worked on many projects in all across Asia Pacific. And this was a time when my mentor first praised me and called me engineer of engineers. So I'm going to come to that, but mentors are very difficult people, right? And if your mentor praises you, it really means something. So that is a milestone in my career. So that's why I deliberately pointed it out. So in 2018, I mastered engineering, water engineering. By that time, I had already trained more than 6,000 water engineers, water professionals all across the world. In 2019, I left Bentley. I joined my wife's startup that she started in 2017 called as DTK Hydronet Solutions. By that time, she already had won the Year in Infrastructure Award 2018 once. And I also enrolled myself as a Bentley training partner. In 2020, I myself, the project that I was responsible for, we won YII 2020. We designed, by this time, we had designed more than 40,000 kilometers of water infrastructure networks all across India. And I always, we came to a point beyond which there was nothing new that we could do. So we were always mesmerized by water, data science, data analytics, and me and Devashri, my wife, decided to pursue a full-fledged formal education in data science. And that is how I got admitted. She also, by the way, got admitted to Carnegie Mellon, which is world's #1 data science university. And our objective is to understand how data science and operations and maintenance of water infrastructure can be bridged. So with that ambition, with that agenda in our mind, we came here, and this is where we are today, right? So 2020 December, I'll be graduating, I'll be finishing my MS in Advanced Infrastructure Systems. And I have so many questions, just like you, in front of me. So should I go for a PhD? Where should I be looking for internships? Should I go for a job, or should I start my own startup? So with all those questions, these are how my first 10 years of my career looked like. And I don't know how the next 10 years are going to turn out. I have 3 mantras. Mantra number 1 is this: well begun is half done. In our beautiful world, if we are okay to fail 1,000,000 times, the chances of hitting success increase exponentially than otherwise. And it is okay to fail. First of all, you have to accept the fact that it is okay, absolutely okay to fail, because everyone fails. What matters is how many times and how differently do you fail? And do you learn from others' mistakes? See, life will throw the same lessons at you again and again and again and again until and unless you learn from those mistakes, from those lessons. So ensure that your every move is a calculated risk and every risk is a calculated move. You should take risks in your lives. So that is a given. But given that, you need to understand whether your risk is a calculated one, and if you are taking risks in a particular direction, right, or not. And internship. I started my career as an intern, and I think internship is one of the most important aspect of anyone's career. And today you'll find that there are a few opportunities of internships where those are not paid, and there are few paid internship opportunities. So I would say gain experience and develop relationships in exchange for your time, right? Whether you are getting paid or not, it doesn't matter. And as a student, as a young student, I would like to tell you that you are not entitled to success. You are not entitled to success, and it doesn't matter how hard you try, how dedicated you are not entitled to success. If you are successful, be grateful about it, right? Surround yourself with achievers and doers. That is also one of the very important. While you start early, you ensure that you surround yourselves with achievers and doers. And are you on LinkedIn? That's the question that you need to ask. If you are not digitally available on professional social media, you need to do it today itself, right? Don't delay anything. Don't delay. So come on, create a professional profile on LinkedIn and start reaching out to people, start reading articles that people share, and start socially interacting with other fellow professionals in the industry. Mantra number 2, get a mentor. There is no successful person who can say that he doesn't or she doesn't have a mentor. Get a mentor and know the maximum of whatever you can, so you can be. So and there is a difference between a teacher and a mentor. A teacher teaches the stuff that he or she knows. A mentor navigates you through challenges based on his or her lived experiences. This is very important. And mentor ensures that he or she doesn't duplicate his or her successes in your life. They don't impose their successes, they don't impose their ideas on you, but they help you explore these ideas and these challenges and solutions to those challenges with whatever potential you have. This is very important. So he or she will help you uncover the fullest potential of your existence. And in this case, it is your professional existence. Learn the art of excellence and get actionable tips and tricks, life lessons, guidance, support, help, and much more if you have an intern. Mentors are difficult people, right? But they'll mold you from being a lump of soil into being a beautiful vase. And as a student myself, I always had this question, whether should I go with one mentor or whether should I go with multiple mentors. It really depends on who you are choosing as your mentor, right? If you have a person who is excelling in particular field and he agrees to become your mentor, then and if that satisfies your needs, then you're okay. But if you need multiple mentors, please go ahead and reach out to multiple people. And the third but very, very important lesson, and it's not just a career lesson, it's a life lesson. So can you see this? This is a graph, career graph of two kinds of people. One who knows everything, and the others who are lifelong learners. And as you can see in the initial stretches of their careers, there is no difference between, you will not be able to identify or differentiate between a person who is actually a lifelong learner and a person who is like, who knows everything, right? They'll all follow the same path. But as they progress in their careers, you'll start observing that this gap enlarges, right? And it will keep on enlarging. So it is very important to understand that the importance of lifelong learning. First of all, learn something, acquire knowledge, develop insight, that is, apply that knowledge to solve particular problem, then go deep into the domain, that is, attain wisdom. You'll start feeling wise about while tackling problems, and then master the art, become a teacher yourself. You master the art of tackling challenges, and then produce teacher, help others grow, help others solve their problems effectively. And once you become a guru, forget that you ever knew anything about the topic. And this is the most important aspect of being a lifelong learner. You'll have to forget that you ever, don't let knowledge kill the curiosity within you. And if it kills it, then it's very sad. It's very sad. And then start this process all over again. And this is a very tedious, very exhausting process. But if you follow this process, you'll enjoy your life much differently as compared to your fellow peers. So with these three mantras, I would like to conclude my talk. And I believe that these life lessons help you. And if you find these important and useful, please share with your friends, your community, and your professional network. And if you are interested in connecting with me, please connect with me on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn profile. You can connect with me on email. You can write email to me, or if you are interested in some research collaboration, you can just write to me. So with that, I hope that you found these three mantras helpful. And with that, I would like to sign out. Thanks, Monica.
And I thank you so much for sharing all these insights as a friend to our audience today. And I'm sure it's going to be very inspiring and helpful to everyone here.
Thank you.
Great. With that, we can hand it over to Dr. K. Manivanan. The stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you. Great articulation by Tanay.
Thank you, sir.
Is it visible? I'm audible?
Yes, completely.
Good afternoon, Ronald present here, and my dear learned colleagues of panelists, Mr. Amarnath, Mr. Tanay Kulkarni, Mr. Dijo, and the Bentley system officials. So I've been asked to give 2 skills and what are the lack of with respect to education system as such. Friends, you know that today we talk about ask yourself. What is ask? A for attitude, S for skills, and K for knowledge. But in the 21st century, just you stop the word, we are getting KSA. Apart from attitude, the K for the knowledge what you are studying in the 4 years of study, and the skills today. In the 21st century, the skills, not only your communication skills, we talk about your programming skills, we talk about your problem solving skills, we talk about the critical thinking, we talk about deep learning, and we talk about the complex oriented problem solving, and we talk about the concrete learning, and all those things are needed for you to be a great engineer. And also, apart from your knowledge and skills, what is needed in the sense, the so-called A, the ability to showcase your knowledge and skill the right platform. Because today, in the 21st century, there are a lot of competitions are there. So you have to compete with this. So for that, we need to have this KSA. So as per my talk, I'm going to sit only with respect to these 2 skills which is needed for infrastructure professional. One is the so-called modern standard approach. Other one is I'm going to talk about the ownership over problem solving and the initiative. Because you know that today we are in the 21st century, the education become disruptive as well as the lot of disruptive technologies are there. When you talk about the AI and IoT and the blockchain and all those things, including the Bentley systems also come with a lot of new technologies, emerging technologies like what Mr. Amarnath said about BIM and other things. See, there are a number of technologies to learn, and learning how to use them has become a big challenge among students because of even though we are living in the digital world, we are all using the so-called media, but still we are lack of a lot of knowledge or a lot of modern approach with respect to the technology as which is required for the knowledge what they are going to have it. The learner should have a strong understanding and be proficient in knowing how to apply the most appropriate modern standards and practices and deciding when to use them. So to use the knowledge gained and work with the related disciplines and champion the adaptation of emerging technologies. What is needed for you in the sense, first of all, you need to have these 4 things. One is the so-called maintainability, because maintainability is not the thing is it's again how you are going to use these technologies for the successful of your career, of your employability and those things. Again, we talk about the dependability. Dependability is more of the quality of being trustworthy, and also you must be reliable with respect to use of the technology and also where you work with respect to your career as such. And also you have to show the 100% efficiency, whatever work you have done. Again, how you are going to use these technologies for the betterment of your organization, in what way it will be useful for your career growth. What Mr. Tanay was telling before me, he was talking about the lifelong learning. So the technology is also useful for you, not only for your career, and also useful for you lifelong learning with respect to various knowledge and technologies and skills what is required for you in your future. Again, next one is ownership of problem solving and initiative. I already told you, because today even Mr. Amarnath has very well articulated with respect to the gap between the industry and academia. Because today we talk about not only in India, across the globe, the learning has been changed in terms of problem solving as well as the project oriented learning. So unless you define yourself, so for that what you need in the sense you have to define a problem given for a given problem, how we are going to solve. So for that we need to have the right knowledge as well as skills. So the interface between the knowledge and skills to be done with respect to whatever we are doing with respect to the problem solving. So today the students are not interested in problem solving learning. So that is very important for you. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to be a successful engineer. So for that, what is needed? So how to identify and also how to resolve yourself with respect to problem solving. In the sense, first you need brainstorm alternatives, because today there are three things like with respect to education system. One is there is no interaction among the faculty because of various reasons, and also there is no interaction within the students because of the social media. We are all busy with all this WhatsApp and other things, but we are not having proper discussion. And lastly, there is no interaction between the faculty as well as students. Now that's why we have to go for a kind of brainstorm alternatives, so which requires a kind of a creativity and also logical thinking, because the students has got the right curiosity. The curiosity leads to creativity, creativity leads to innovation, innovation leads to success. So unless you have a right interaction among yourself with your peers, it's very difficult for us to come with the kind of a problem solving skill. Other one is how to choose the best strategy. So again, the strong decision making skill is required for you. This is also needed for you with respect to problem solving, and also we need to have a teamwork, leadership, and communication as well as a negotiation. This is also very important for you in problem solving attitude. So next one is they ask you, I asked me to do this. What is the aspect that students and educators usually don't pay much attention? Because initially we used to talk about the intelligent quotient, but today we talk about the emotional intelligence. So this is very important. Why it is so in the sense nowadays educators are focusing only on the academic thing. That is, I have to complete my syllabus, see that my students are getting 100%. It's not so. So unfortunately, this skill is not inculcated among the students, which helps them to boost the self-motivation, self-learning, and also problem-solving, manage stress, and also make good decisions. So emotional intelligence, where there's a kind of a gap between the faculty as well as students is existing in the system. So for that, what is need? We have to need in the sense, in order to achieve this emotional intelligence, what we need in the sense, we have to develop a kind of a self-awareness, and also you have to manage emotions and self-regulations, and also developing empathy, and also you have to motivate. The self-motivation, the proactivity must be there with respect to this particular thing among the faculty as well as students. The next one is work ethics, because today again there are a lot of lack of these things are there with respect to our young students as well as the faculty, because they are not practicing good work ethics, and they have low job dependability, and also lack of bad attitude, okay, and also lack of communication skills as well as low interpersonal skills. These to be taken care of, which gives again kind of value addition for all of us with respect to education system as such. So for that, what we need in the sense, we need to have the priority, and also you have to go for punctuality, and you have to have a kind of professionalism within the education system, and also cultivate the self-discipline. I used to say 3D formula. The first one is we need to have the right discipline, and also next D is called the dedication. Then you can see the kind of development for you. So unless you have the right discipline and also with respect to the dedication, it's difficult for us to be a development with respect to our domain of studies. And also time management is very important for you. If these 5 things are there, you can able to do a good things with respect to ethical in terms of your work culture. For that, what we need in the sense, we have to create a kind of ecosystem for you, and also you have to adopt. So create and adopt, this gives a kind of a thing for you in near future. So and I want to just give a kind of input about the blended learning, because today we are living in the digital digital arena in the 21st century internet world. So today the learning is, you know, that due to the pandemic, everybody is online learning, but apart from online learning, it's a kind of a hybrid learning is needed. The blended learnings are needed for you. So for that, it should give what is the important in the sense here, it is cost effective on all learning solutions, and also conduct the academic activities online. And also there are a lot of pedagogy methods are there for you, keep learning and activity and assessment based education. It's also, it gives a kind of a student engagement in a very big way in the days to come. So why it is again important is enhance academic service offerings, okay. It supports outcome based education. That's why I already told you the KSA. And also it's create a kind of a technology ecosystem for students to promote vocational courses as well as entrepreneurship and skill development, because today we talk about the innovation and entrepreneurship. These things gives a blended learning is a kind of a thing for you. And also we talk about ICT enabled education, self-paced micro-credential courses and skill-based learning options, mobile-enabled learning, and also supports learning for life. That's what I already told, life learning. And also it gives a kind of a thing for our NEP 2020. So with that, I'll conclude. Please go through the education at bentley.com. There are a lot of opportunities for the students as a faculty of civil engineering, where Bentley has come with a lot of softwares freely available for you, not only in StatPro, even for hydraulics and also transportation system and water resources, and all those things are there. Make use of that. I hope I can get some questions from the students here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manivanan. Thank you so much for that insightful presentation.
Thank you.
This is going to be helpful for our students here today. And as we move on to our last speaker for the day, Zalko, are you all set to share about how Bentley Education, Bentley Systems is helping students today to take a jump start in their careers?
Can you see my presentation now?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So it's my great pleasure to be here today, guys. Thanks, Monica, for inviting me. My goal for coming 10 minutes is basically to give you a bit of insight into where we feel industry is going, and with that, what kind of jobs are and will be in demand, and maybe then to provide you with some resources, or better say, guide you towards the resources that will help you understand better this career path that you are about to choose or that you already chose. So a little bit about myself. I am, as Monica says, I'm director of for our educational program based out of the Netherlands. And over the last 21 years that I'm looking after academia for Bentley, this really became more than a job. It became my passion, working with academia to help promoting engineering education on one side, and then on the other side as well as help incorporating technologies, Bentley technologies into teaching. Over my tenure with Bentley, I've been involved in a number of educational projects across the globe, projects for young kids, very young kids, not as young as this kid on a screen, to students, to postgraduate students, as well as some young professionals. Number of those projects have been recognized by the local governments, like the one on a photo here from the UK, where we were invited to House of Lords to talk about project that we are involved with. And our goals basically has always been the same, which is encouraging young minds to join infrastructure industries and support their ambitions by providing them with the resources to advance their learning and their careers. Significant part of my time is spent on bringing together academia and industry, so that, as the slide says, teaching becomes more relevant to the industry needs, while academia gets better insight into industry directions. And I think Amarnath touched upon that in his presentation. So why is that needed? In my experience, where there is no good cooperation between industry, technology vendors in academia, result is very often, not necessarily, but very often a result is a gap between skills that students acquire during their studies on one side and what industry expects from them on the other side. And then it's especially true for digital skills. So there is this digital skills gap. And where there is a good cooperation between those two parties, students graduate with the skills that are highly in demand and can lend them the great jobs that they always wanted. Right. So what are those skills that new generation of AEC professionals, architecture, engineering, construction professional needs? Forward-thinking infrastructure companies, they look for candidates with a good mix of skills and some experience through internships, hopefully, working on innovative technologies such as digital twins, AR, VR. They are looking for candidates that are ambitious, that are flexible, adaptable, and most importantly, and you heard that already today a few times, who strive to be lifelong learners. And why lifelong learners is important? As Tanay mentioned, and by the way, his first slide, when you guys start writing CVs, take his first slide as an example of how you should write a CV. But what he mentioned is he's curious person and he's a naturally lifelong learner. But why is that necessity? If you think about it, and I think Tanay will tell you that the same is true for him. Academia is preparing you for your first job, or if you're already working, it is preparing you for a current job or maybe next job. But job that you will have 5 years from now probably doesn't even exist yet. And if it does, it is probably going to look completely differently in 5 years. And that is why important to be a lifelong learner so that you stay relevant, so that you stay ahead of this curve. And again, I bet you that next job that Tanay will work on either didn't exist when he was studying, or it is looking now completely differently than from what it was when he was studying. A significant part of new graduate jobs will be to drive innovation and increase productivity, basically to avoid project delays and cost overruns. So there will always be demand to make things better, stronger, and faster. So and companies are looking for students who understand the need for innovation and can make a positive impact on the world by solving real-time issues, real-world issues. And they should also understand the big picture. Amarnath mentioned the full life cycle of infrastructure assets. So yeah, that is very, very important that you have insight into full project life cycle, from planning to design to development, construction, operations, and all the way to the maintenance phase. Right. So what are those jobs then? How do they look like? As the outlook for digitalization in AC is very bright, recent McKinsey study shows that we should expect up to 200 million additional jobs by 2030 in this AC industry. Digital twins will gain momentum. It will require more specialists or experts to handle the processes of digital twinning. Also, as digital twin platforms accumulate immense amount of data, it will open many opportunities for data analysts and researchers, where individuals basically with analytical skills and experience in spotting data trends will be in demand. More construction companies are starting to utilize cloud applications, other technologies such as AR, VR, in completely different ways, in interesting ways. So there will be an increased demand for skills professionals who are trained in those technologies. Also with that, there will be new jobs coming up for security experts to fight the battle with the cyber criminals in infrastructure. If you look at the current trends and project growth in certain technologies, we can think of new job roles around the drones and automatic vehicles, commanding too, obviously. With the goal of upgrading of existing facilities and laying the foundation for future economic growth, many nations are highly investing in roads and rails, utilities, and smart cities development. I think many of you heard about a new bill that has been passed in the US that addresses exactly this. So there will be more job opportunities in that area for a future generation. Right. Okay. So then, where does Bentley Education fits into that? And in order to show you that, I think I'm going to stop this presentation and just go to our website and run you through it. So, Monica, we are good, right?
Yes, Zirko.
All right. So Bentley Education is about helping students developing skills that will help them in a real world. It's about guiding them to find an existing and fulfilling career by providing an opportunity to read about and talk to others already in the industry. So what does that mean? Of course, as a technology company, we provide software. We provide software at no costs, same software that is used by the industry professionals. And it is as simple as coming to our portal and downloading the software and registering and then downloading our software. Obviously, you need to get trained on that software. So as you would expect, we are providing training on our technologies. For educators, we provide a lot of resources to help them, as I mentioned earlier, incorporate our technologies in their teaching. So first of all, working together with them to help them create their courses, and then also to incorporate Bentley technologies in those courses. And I think the one part that I'm particularly proud of is if you go to our homepage, is providing you resources in order to understand better what is this technical education that I'm eventually thinking of, and what is this industry that I will be joining. So instead of trusting to me or Bentley colleagues, you can hear from students like you. Why did I choose technical education? So here is an example of Eliza on left side of the screen, who wanted to be medical doctor, and then she got exposed to one of the courses that we are working on together with our educational partner during her secondary school times, and now she's studying civil engineering at Harvard University in the UK. Then you have example of young engineers talking about why did they choose career in engineering. You have examples of executives being interviewed by students and explaining what are the skills that they are looking for in a young minds, and what are those skills that are in demand. So once again, either than listening to my presentation, you can listen to people that are eventually going to hire you tomorrow, and you as a student could be tomorrow one of the interviewers. You just have to come to us and let us know that you are interested in that. And I think the other part that that I believe we are doing differently from anyone else is, if I just go, no, I want to go here. Sorry, bear with me for a second. Is our community where you can come and you can register it yourself. You can get in contact with your peers, but also to those communities we are addressing a gap by building a mentorship culture, where professionals can coach and transfer their knowledge and expertise to younger generations. So basically, we are giving you guys an opportunity to connect with the experts and senior infrastructure professionals, to interview them, have a dialogue with them about career growth, and so on. So yeah, that's what we do, and we would love for you, whether you're a student or educator or industry member, to come and work with us to help students jump starting their infrastructure careers. And with that, I'm going to close my presentation, and I'm available for questions, obviously.
Thank you, Zelko. Once the chat box is open, we'll post the link about our education portal so students can go explore and register themselves on the portal. And we can now move on to the next stage of this this event right now. What we can do is it okay with all the speakers if we extend this session by 5-10 minutes? Because I think
I'm fine.
you're fine. Like, otherwise, we'll quickly rush with the questions. We have
well, for me, it's 7 in the morning, so I have a whole day.
Great, thank you. So, for example, like we have Muzajid Afzal from Nikmar, who is asking us, being a student, what skills or knowledge one must focus on to get into project management domain. Like Dr. Amarnath, would you like to address this question?
Yeah, sure, Monica. I think if you're looking more of a construction project manager, you should focus on how do you use the BIM model for site activities? How can I use that BIM model for time planning, monitoring? How can I use that model for on the cost estimation, cash flow? How can I use that model for on the safety planning, quality planning, logistics, procurement? These are the activities. How do you develop a digital twin or manage a team to hand over the digital twin? These are the kind of skills you have to learn. It's not about how you develop a BIM model, because you as a construction project manager, you have to manage the projects on the site.
Okay, I think this should help Afzal to get his answer. Like we have another question from Shaunak Roy from NIT Pune. He's asking, why are social skills so important to get your first job? Maybe Zelko, you could take up this one, like if you want to highlight.
Yeah, so obviously, well, if you think about digitalization in infrastructure industry or digitalization in any other industry, there are three aspects to it. One is obviously technology. Second one are processes, but the third one are people. And this is a part where a lot of big projects actually fail, because you put technology in place, you put processes in place, but you forget about people who need to understand better, who need to change the way they are working. And in order to do that, you have to have a particular set of skills. Now, if you're talking about your first job, think of tomorrow you're going to put your CV together and you're going to come to the hiring manager. How am I as a hiring manager gonna differentiate you? Obviously, you will have your diploma, so will have everyone else, and maybe your scores will be a little bit better, which is important, but that's not gonna make a difference between being hired or not. What I'm gonna look into is, second thing that I'm gonna look into is, okay, but what did you actually do during your study? So are there any examples of projects that you've been working on? Are there any, did you participate in any competition during the study? And the third one, I will be looking at, are you going to fit in our team? So do you share same values? Do you have those skills? Are you a communicative person? Are you a problem-solving person? So would you fit perfectly in our team? And on the other side, do I think that you have a potential to grow? And potential to growth could come from me as a hiring manager understanding that you are a lifelong learner and so forth. So those are the skills that can actually on one side make a difference for you between being hired or not, and on the other side that could be a difference for you by being happy in your job or not being happy in your job, because it is other way around also. If your set of skills does not match company culture, then you're not, you might get a job, but you're not going to be happy in that job.
Certainly, Zelko.
And this is much bigger discussion than what we can do in this 30 seconds that I'm trying to answer the question.
Yeah, we probably can have another webinar only focused on social skills. I'd like to announce that the chat box is now enabled. If anyone wants to ask live questions to our speakers today, they can put it up in the chat box. And we have another question from Nikmar again. Rishikesh Arkal is asking, what are the expectations of companies from freshers in infrastructure domain? Like, Tanay, would you like to take this one up?
Oh, yeah, sure. Expectations from a fresher. The biggest, as Zelko mentioned, that all of you, when we are freshers, all of us are on the same page, right? On the same very datum. The only differentiator is, and when I say this, I don't mean, so let me say that first. You have to have some experience, and this experience need not come from an employer. Do you get what I mean? It can come from the projects that you have worked on yourself, or all by yourself, or your college or university has some activities that are going on. You have to collect that, and it is a cumulative experience. What you have done in 4 years of your undergraduation, that is the skills that we look for, right? And integrity, dignity, honesty, hardworking nature, problem solving skills. But how do you know, or how do you sharpen your problem solving skills? By first jumping into the problems, right? And that is when the projects that I'm referring to comes into action, comes into picture. So these are the skills that I believe. And software, of course, it's very important skill, but it has to be complemented with the background domain understanding, the engineering, right? So you have to be really good at math, and only then it will, you will be satisfied yourself while using any software, right? For example, if I'm using a software called as WaterGens, Bentley software, and I don't know what this software does, and I only know how to create a network, how to enter data, how to compute the network, but I don't really know how to interpret the results. Mm-hmm. No meaning, right? So you have to know the background, and that is why you are pursuing your engineering, right? So
definitely. You have to. Yeah. We completely agree with you, and I think this answer is going to be helpful for our students here today. And we have another question that's coming from Vaibhav Rathod from JSPM Pune. He's concerned about the fact that due to pandemic, he could not pursue any certification courses, and he's worried how he can cope up with this gap. Dr. Manivanan, do you think you can help Vaibhav with this answer?
Yeah, because today there are a lot of MOOC courses and SWAM is also there and NPTEL is also there. In fact, if he is very much particular about skilling with respect to civil, Bentley's solution, they are already having an online portal has come. So they can utilize it because today when we study it, it is only 4 direction of opportunities, but today it is 360 degrees opportunities. Only thing is we have to go and grab the opportunities. We must have a kind of thing because today the so-called Mata, Pita, Guru, Daivam, in the 21st century, the so-called guru has been replaced by Google. So Google has got a lot of information. The Bentley, the website portal is there. They can utilize it. They can come with the kind of knowledge gain is there. And what Mr. Tani was telling Mr. Kulkarni, very well said, lifelong learning is very important. So they have to learn. Okay. So opportunities are only plenty. So it's already there existing. The Google is there. Disseminate the information. Okay, you can use it. It's there.
Certainly. And like we have another one, Neha Verma from RGPV Institute is asking, after completing engineering, she wants to take a career switch to designing as a profession. And what are the courses that we can suggest her? Maybe Tanay, you could take this one up.
Sure, am I audible? I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. Courses. Then the first course that you have to have is Microsoft Office. I'm talking from software point of view. And then there are websites such as education.bentley.com, which is a great place to know and learn and develop your skills on the software that the industry is right now using actively. And at the same time, there are many websites such as Coursera, edX, where you can learn the domain engineering, right? For example, if I want to understand what is probability and statistics, right, which is by far it is applied to all the fields of engineering, right? So maybe you can develop those skills, math skills from one side and then software skills from other, and then this blend will will answer the question that you have in your mind.
Wonderful. And I hope this will answer the question. We have another question that is very specific to L&T, Dr. Amarnath, and I think you can take this up. Student Ashok Kumar, he's asking, what skill does L&T expect from students who wish to join the company as a fresher?
Yeah, well, we focusing as an EPC company. We have a good set of people who can do the designs, but there are also people missing for the designs on the rails, roads, transportation side. Maybe Bentley tools are used there. And also another side is for the construction field engineers. They have to have this BIM capabilities to implement on the projects. So those skills are also missing. So we are looking for potential candidates who can do the field BIM activities and also who can take up with BIM for linear projects. These kind of skills are very much essential to looking into the BIM roles in the company.
Certainly. Thank you for highlighting those points.
Monica, I want a small thing from my end.
Yes.
Kind of a suggestion. I request Dijo who can able to give a kind of initiatives because the Bentley I'm seeing for the past 10 years. Now Bentley has come with a lot of initiation towards the enhancement of the skills and as well as the knowledge for especially for the infrastructure. Okay, and he can throw some points in this thing so that the participants can come to know.
Certainly, Zalko, would you like to take this up? If you would like to highlight how Bentley Education is helping in skill enhancements area.
Right. Okay, so first of all, I showed you I gave a glimpse of that portal that we are creating, which is free resource, easily accessible to pretty much everyone. And it has everything there from technologies to, from softwares to training, to insight into industry, to interviews, and this is our main source of information. I think it should be main source of information for young minds that are opting for these careers. But we also engaged in a number of different initiatives, not only in India, but everywhere in the world. And as well in India. Today, I'm in London because later today we are launching a curriculum or course that it's called Future Infrastructure course, that we develop together with the industry members. So we are working with the industry, together with the industry, to help educators incorporating our technologies in their teaching. And again, this course is one of the examples. We have a number of initiatives on higher level initiatives within universities and groups of universities in India, again to mesh skills that industry needs with what universities are teaching. And I don't want to mention any particular initiative at this point, but there is really a number of them that we are engaged with, and the goal is making sure that skills the students will graduate with at those universities are relevant to the industry and employers likes of L&T and others.
Great, thank you for throwing that highlight, Zelko. Maybe we can take up the questions that are there in the chat box now. Like, there are quite interesting questions that have been asked by our attendees today. There's one from a person whose profession is an educator. He's asking, can a person having 3 years of teaching experience now wishes to change to the industry? Does the industry consider his profile for recruitment? Maybe Dr. K. Manivanan, you can take this up.
There was a network problem here. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, can a person having 3 years of teaching experience now wish to change the industry, and does the industry consider his profile for recruitment? What can he do
Because it is there, the opportunity is there. Only thing is he must have the right knowledge, skills must be there. Because see, today the industry is looking for people with the various skills. Today, you know that the BIM has come and BMS has also come. A lot of new technologies are going to come, and we talk about the smart cities and those things. Okay, so unless he himself has the right skills and knowledge, I think, and also as per the industry need. Okay, so they need some sort of a skill-oriented problem-solving person. So if they have acquired the right skills, naturally they can able to get it. It's not a problem.
Monica, I also like to add on for this. Rather than seeing on a drawback side, you have to look more on a benefit side, because you already have a education perspective, teaching experience. On the other side, you're looking for industry experience. So why don't you bring that together and bridge that together? That's what you have to focus on, rather than thinking that, okay, I'm not aligned with industry experience, and what should I do? Will industry consider me? You have to see that gap and fix it. That's the opportunity for you.
Certainly, thank you for adding that, Dr. Amarnath. Maybe you could also take this one up. It's like Muhammad Asif is asking us, having a 3-year gap after BTech can affect his career building in design sector, and how does he go on from there?
Nothing would affect the career, because when you want to start something, you can start from that point of time. So maybe I may be doing some other business for 10 years, and now I have to kickstart. If company doesn't need me, I can do my entrepreneurship. It's nothing to do with, are people ready to hire me? What should I do? But you start your journey, and by the time you want to do something, you will have the opportunities in place. If no one want to hire you, it's fine. You give the opportunities for the others. You hire other people and get the works done. So the opportunities are never less. The only thing is you should have a mindset to get things done, start forward, and no need to wait for anything. Kickstart your journey. And whatever is past, and what you start from now is what is going to help you to count.
Very true. Thank you for adding that. And there's another one, Tanay, probably you could take this up. It's about Abhitej Pamu is asking, is there a trade-off between knowledge and experience? And when we try new things, there's always a barrier that you don't have experience to do it. And people around us say that first have experience and then start on your own. What is your take on this?
Yeah, as a student myself now, after coming back to academia after so many years, this is not true. This is not true. Today in the world of data, you have so many data sets available. Who is stopping you from using that data, working on some project, carving out your ideas and coming up with a outcome, right? And you don't need some employer to have you do that, right? You can do it on your own, right? You can work on your ideas. You can say that, okay, I was not employed, but this is what I have come up with. right? This is my creation. This is my project. These are my insights. These are my failures, and these are the learnings. That's it. Experience at the end of the day is nothing but where have you failed, how differently have you failed, and what have you learned. That's what I think.
Thank you for giving that take on that question. And what we can do is we can conclude this session here itself, and we'll post a community link in the chat box. If students have more questions, they can put it on the communities, and we'll help them get them answered by our panel of speakers today. And with that, yes, I mean, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you for being patient and listening to all our speakers. Like, this is just the first of many talks that we're planning. In future, you will have more webinars from Bentley Education that are specific to a particular infrastructure industry domain or a particular job role. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Let's
everyone.
all-
Thank you. Nice
all get
meeting you
connected
all.
on LinkedIn. Thank you.